and welcome to the Etch Play live show with me, Tyre, joined today by the lovely Adam. How are you, Adam?
I'm good. I mean, am I good? Yes, I am good. Whether I'm good or not, we're on the internet live, so I have to pretend that I'm extremely happy. So that's what I'm going to do.
There we go.
Happy to be here.
We're giving you the hard truths today on the live show.
It's taken me less than 30 seconds to go off script.
It's good. It's all good. It's all
New personal
honest.
best.
Very good. We've got some good stuff ready for you today. We are going to be talking about the latest news from the last 7 days. We're then going to watch Adam, a past Adam, play some Paradise Killer, which is my, I would say, top 10 game probably. I'm representing with my Shinji top today, which is great. Paradise Killer merch is fire. And then I will be joined by Ben Joy to talk all about our favourite Gamescom announcements and trailers of the past. So do stay and come along with us on a journey to Gamescoms of many years ago. But without further ado, let's have a think about some news, Adam. Ready?
Let's do it. I was born ready to hear video gaming news live on the internet. Let's do it.
Excellent. Well, our first news story is something that has been going through the Twitterverse like wildfire, and that is the Embracer Group's spending spree. Their quest to buy every other company in the world has continued yesterday, as they unveiled a slew of purchases, including Middle-earth Enterprises, Limited Run, Singtrix, Tripwire Interactive, and Tuxedo Labs. There is also reported additional acquisition that remains unannounced at this time, which will be quite interesting to see when it is announced. The spending total for all of these purchases is apparently $576 million, which is a lot, but not as big as we would have perhaps expected, especially for the particularly lucrative Lord of the Rings rights. When it comes to Lord of the Rings, existing deals are unaffected, but in future, when companies want to make films or games about the Tolkien universe, they will have to go through Embracer. They put up some statements about these purchases. The Middle-earth Enterprises one has attracted the most attention, and on that, Embracer have said the acquisition was in line with its IP-driven transmedia strategy, and expressed interest in exploring additional movies based on iconic characters such as Gandalf, Aragorn, Gollum, Galadriel, Eowyn, and other characters from the literary works of J.R.R. Tolkien, and continue to provide new opportunities for fans to explore this fictive world through merchandising and other experiences. The other companies they've bought have worked on a wide range of things, including karaoke and music games via Singstrix, 2020's Shark RPG Maneater via Tripwire, and Teardown via Tuxedo Labs. And some of the other companies who have been bought by Embracer during the spending spree include Bitwave Games, Geotech, and Tatsujin. A new Lord of the Rings game developed by Weta Workshop and set to be published by Private Division was also announced this week, which is very exciting. What do you think, Adam? Is Embracer going to own the world soon?
I mean, first of all, I just want to applaud you for the pronunciation throughout of several difficult words from the Lord of the Rings universe and some tricky company names in that news story. But also, I mean, Lord of the Rings is obviously the big headline here. Those rights haven't changed hands in decades. They've been with the previous company for like 60 years. So all the things that we know and love about Lord of the Rings now, you know, if you love the Peter Jackson films or any of the games that have come out, you know, those deals that Warner Brothers made, they never owned the rights. They've always been borrowing them from another company, and Embracer have just gone straight to the source. Like, we don't want to borrow them, we want to buy them, which is the sort of spending power that very few companies in the world would have, you would think. But yeah, I mean, and they've kind of given away, or they've played the hand a little bit here, haven't they, when they've talked about IP-driven transmedia strategy. This is absolutely a shift for them away from being a pure gaming group to being IP driven and transmedia, which means they want to work in all different areas of entertainment. They want their fingers in everything, basically, rather than just in one industry. Makes a lot of sense for the company to diversify their interests into multiple industries across entertainment rather than putting all eggs in one basket. And also positions them really well in the kind of ongoing bidding war or kind of frantic activity we're seeing around the metaverse and around the idea that some of these IPs are in themselves lucrative for what they could bring to a shared universe, whether that's Meta's universe or Fortnite or whatever it ends up being that these things end up being a part of, you know. So yeah, I mean, it's an interesting move and strange timing because I think we've been experiencing this week a lot of people are maybe coming to grasp the sense that, especially here in the UK, financial crisis is real. Recession is on the horizon. Spending is down in most sectors, but maybe this deal has been long in the works, and we're just finding out about it now that it's finalised, rather than it being them opening their wallets yesterday, for example. Is probably not how it actually went down. I'm sure there was many lawyers involved. So yeah, interesting timing and definitely um, continuing trend really of all these IPs and companies getting hoovered up, really sucked up into one of these big mega conglomerates, which is not necessarily good for us, depending on who you who you listen to. And there's lots of I know there's lots of real world concerns about this kind of consolidation, monopolies, and about where some of this money's come from as well. I know Embracer have a lot of ties in like Saudi Arabia, which people have feelings about. So yeah, definitely an interesting one. Definitely the most seismic thing to happen, even though these companies aren't necessarily the biggest companies in games. It's a huge move. It's one of the biggest players in the industry.
For sure. And like I said, everyone seems to have an opinion. And I do like how there's a meme now where it seems like everyone's doing some kind of version of, oh, yeah, I've been acquired by the Embracer Group, because it definitely feels like that. It definitely feels like they're becoming after us next. But
What's our price tire? How much
yeah,
for the Embracer Group to buy this show?
at least a couple of million, surely. I know my worth.
You value this show so much higher than I do. I would do it for a packet of crisps and 2 pints of lager. Ben
Three
in the chat says,
shillings.
yeah, Ben says 3 shillings.
Fair
Dan says it's
price.
like the battle royale of game biz acquisitions. And Tony shared an amusing tweet as well, or a good tweet, I should say. Um, so yeah, definitely got a lot of people talking, like you say.
Sure. Our next story is about a new game by the Just Cause devs, who apparently have spent 2 years on an unreleased Iron Man game. Back in 2012, Marvel contacted Avalanche Studios, the team behind Just Cause, and began working with them on an Iron Man game we've heard this week. The game sadly never came out, but it's easy to imagine how the gameplay style of Just Cause, which features explosive and fast-paced open-world action, could make a good foundation for a game about the misadventures of Tony Stark and his Iron Man technology. So what went wrong? Well, according to studio head Christopher Sundberg, Disney simply had too short a time frame in mind. In an interview with MinMax, Sundberg said it would have broken the studio completely if they had hired all the necessary people needed to finish the game in the release window that Disney wanted. We would have had to hire 70 to 80 people for the team that I would have had a responsibility to find a new project for. Marvel do have it pretty good when it comes to licensed games. Spider-Man games have become a big success with PlayStation, and Spider-Man Remastered recently released for the PC, while future Marvel titles, including Midnight Suns and Wolverine, are coming soon. We also reported a rumour recently on the show that EA are apparently working on a Black Panther game too. What do you think, Adam? Are you sad that we're not going to get an Iron Man game?
I mean, I do think that an Iron Man game from the team behind Just Cause, Avalanche Studios, would be good. I think there's probably a consensus among most people that that would be probably quite a good video game. Um, but it's always tricky, isn't it? And we've seen really a kind of move away from the mid 2000s kind of landfill era of movie tie-in games that are not very good. I think
Yeah.
games now command a kind of respect that it's like, oh, if we're going to do it, we want to do it properly. We want to engage with the most talented development studios, the best publishers. You see people like Spider-Man's coming out of Insomniac, and they're just one of the absolute best developers in the game right now. Um, so there's definitely a growing respect, I guess, from across the aisle. You know, people who work in film and TV are saying, well, the game's not just a throwaway. It's not a toy like an action figure that we're just selling to make more money. It should be something that we really think about and make a considered part of the experience, I guess. Um, but I also fully understand that why this wouldn't happen. I mean, Disney famously have a very tight schedule. Films tend to turn over quicker than games do in terms of the turnaround time from kind of script completion to being filmed and released. And we've all sorts of horror stories from those other industries, the virtual visual effects industries, struggling with just the amount that Disney wants them to do on all these different Marvel and Star Wars films and shows and all the things they're pumping out all the time. It's a great time for consumers maybe to have all this content, but actually there's a real lack of skills in all these industries in terms of being able to deliver at the rate that some of these companies want to be able to deliver at. So yeah, you can easily imagine this conversation going down where Disney are like, the film comes out next year, and the game developers turn around and say, well, 1 year for us is pre-production.
Yeah.
That's not enough time to make a game of the caliber that you're looking for. So never say never. And I think Marvel are exploring more games now, like the ones you mentioned, Midnight Suns, which was announced at Gamescom last year, and Spider-Man, which has done really well, like we say. So I think there's scope for it. It just needs to be a little bit decoupled from the kind of film release schedule. It needs to be its own thing. It needs to be, let's take a look at these characters, respect them, give them the appropriate budget, appropriate timeline, and then see what comes out. Hopefully lots of great games.
For sure, for sure. And I think you're right. It kind of fits to the news story on Embraces. A lot of companies are embracing that kind of transmedia thing where, it's not just a video game, it's not just a film, it's not just a comic book, it's a multifaceted IP that has a place across so many different types of media, books, etc. And I think that's just great for fans because if you are a fan of Marvel, you have so many different things that you can enjoy. You can get into the action figures, you can get into the books, the comics, etc., etc. It's a fun time. It's a fun time to be a fan of most things, really. Our final story is all about Bungie. So Bungie has revealed the details of their next Destiny update. And starting to tease their next big update, which is set to completely revamp the Arc class of the game. The Arc class, for those of you who are unfamiliar, does lightning stuff and wields electricity-based powers and things of that sort. It's not newsworthy for Bungie to be hard at work on a new update, but what has raised eyebrows is their chosen inspiration for the next update, which was 2009's Crank 2 High Voltage, a high-octane action movie starring Jason Statham. The movie features Statham having his heart replaced with an electric battery that he must keep electrically charged while he fights off henchmen. According to Bungie's blog, it's non-stop, it's relentless, and it's a great place to start for the fantasy the team wanted to achieve. The blog actually has loads of details about what the new class abilities are and how they're going to work, so if you're a big Destiny fan, you should definitely check it out. As reported on the show, Bungie recently began legal proceedings against trolls who have threatened their staff online, which has made a number of them reluctant to talk about the game on social media. Some of the Arc class abilities are reminiscent of the Twilight Garrison dodge ability, which was the subject of a number of vitriolic tweets aimed at Bungie staff. Here's hoping that these new changes are better received, and there is a Destiny 2 showcase next Tuesday, where we'll get to see these new powers in action. Are you a Destiny player, Adam?
I am not a Destiny player, but I am a massive fan of Crank 2 High Voltage, starring Jason Statham. And this news story definitely caught my eye as well. You might have seen I tweeted about it pretty much just incredulously because it's such a strange reference for a AAA video game studio to make. And it's surprisingly candid because, I mean, this film is not necessarily like, it's not an award-winning film. It's not like a cultural touchstone. It's not even something that everyone has seen. It says like it's not even like not that big, If they were like, oh, the inspiration for this was Pulp Fiction, you'd be like, oh well, yeah, I get it. There's like people love that. That's really famous. Everyone's seen it. But for them to be like, no, our inspiration was a little known cult favorite, R-rated. It's really extreme film as well. I'm really actually surprised they would even. I'm not surprised they would think this behind closed doors. I'm surprised they would announce that they were thinking it, because this film is definitely not suitable for many of Destiny's players who maybe teenagers. But yeah, I mean it's exciting time for Destiny. Destiny has been on this real journey, and they always talked about it when they first announced the Destiny franchise as like this 10-year, like massive thing that no one really thought they could pull off, and they have in their own way. So it's not necessarily like the biggest game in the world, but it's a steady game. It's performed really well. They've gone free to play with the base game, and they've been steadily releasing these new updates, which have been focused on revamping the subclasses, and they've all been really well received. They've already done 2 of them, Void and the other one. Not a Destiny fan, clearly. And this is like the 3rd one that they're doing. And yeah, just from strength to strength. So really congratulations to them. And I think they're a studio that probably deserves it. I think they've put a lot of effort into this game, and the franchise as a whole over many years, and hopefully it's going to continue to pay off for them. I think actually it ties in a little bit to last week's show, because I know that Ben and Dan were here talking about the long tail of game sales. Really good example of a game that didn't sell badly, but definitely wasn't as much of a success as they wanted it to be when they launched it. And they've just been like, you know what, we're just going to get on with it. We're going to keep trying to make the game we want to make. We know it's not perfect, but we'll get there. And by all accounts, an incredible game now with tons and tons of content and very refined. So yeah, interesting news story.
Very much so. And yeah, I mean, I've played some Destiny. I quite like it. And I guess again, it kind of ties into what Dan and Ben were saying last week, but sometimes those are the games that have the tightest communities because of the effort that the developers put into, adding stuff in, making the content go. No Man's Sky is also a really great example. A launch that doesn't go quite to plan isn't always, the death of a game. And sometimes it's the thing that can actually get you to really rethink about the direction that you're going, which is pretty cool. Awesome. Those were the news story this week. If you enjoyed that and you want to find out more about what we think about recent events and games, we do a roundup on our website every Friday. So tomorrow morning, you can expect it on www.etchuk.com/play. Is that right?
Yeah, no, I'm just laughing at you doing the www out loud. It's at http://www.etchuk.com/.
No, it's obviously on HTTPS. Like, come on, we're professionals. There we go. Dan's put it in a chat. It's because every time in my head, I'm like, is it Etch Play or is it Etch UK? And
you know what the actual URL is? The actual URL is you go to Google and you type in Etch Play.
There we go. And in the roundup, you can see the whole team, not just Adam and I, talk about things that we've been doing. I want to go on record now that last week I wrote about Cult of the Lamb, and I'm also writing about it this week so that Dan can't steal that idea from me. Sorry, Dan.
Oh, okay.
I'm loving it.
Dan's been told. Dan's been called out in public. He can't steal your segment for tomorrow's blog.
I can't steal my segment. I want to write about the lamb. Excellent. Our next bit, which I'm going to magically transition us to, very magically, is the Paradise Killer gameplay. So this is some gameplay that Adam captured a little while ago when he was playing a game that we are going to watch all together and have a chat about. Magic. It's absolutely magical. I am let's make sure that the sound is on the video, yes.
Paradise Killer.
I'm a big fan of this game. It was my game of the year, the year that came out. I thought the game audio might be a bit too loud. Is that better, Dan? Sorry.
Chuck it down to like 50% or something.
That's what it was. Cool. So yeah, I just love this game. It's quite a simple idea, not a very long game, but I just love the world that they've built. And I thought the gameplay was quite fun. So this is kind of the intro. There is quite a bit of plot and world building that is all really wacky, and I think that's why it has captured some people's attentions, because everything's just a little bit strange and interesting. And there's these cut points where you go to a bar and there's some people just talking. That just gives you a little bit of a flavour of kind of
mysterious strangers.
I found that really interesting when I played it, because it kind of doesn't really have anything to do with anything, but it does help you understand the world a little bit better.
Okay, well, surely that comes back into it at some point. I mean, this is me playing. I saw that and I was like, that'll come back later in the story. I'm guessing that it will come back.
It's one of those things, that it does come back, and there's several instances of that happening, but it's all a little bit. It's one of those things where you have to kind of make your own mind about what's going on. It doesn't hold your hand.
It leaves it open to the audience's interpretation.
Here is Shinji, who is my favourite character in this whole...
Your favourite colour?
My favourite colour. Just my
neon
favourite colour.
Blue and pink.
I mean, look, I adore Shinji.
Yeah,
and...
you are... So you're using this... So I captured this footage and I did not know what I was doing during this gameplay at all. You're kind of putting me on blast here by playing it out. But it's also an opportunity for you, I guess, to really sell this. So it's like a detective game, right? And you... what's the kind of gimmick here? Why do you love Paradise Killer so much?
I love it. I think they've got the detective side of things really well. It doesn't hold your hand. There are multiple endings. It's one of those things where, as long as you got the right evidence and the right logic, anyone could be a murderer, right? That's kind of the vibe. And I managed to get I don't think there is a true ending, but I did manage to find kind of almost like the secret ending, which was kind of the true ending, just by being really thorough and exploring everywhere. You could, in theory, finish this game in 2 hours, depending on kind of what kind of information you get. But if you stick out with it and you kind of go everywhere, you look at everything. It does pay off. It really pays off in that end bit where basically your character's in front of all the other characters, and you have to kind of do this whole Phoenix Wright, it was you because of these things that I found, and that part of it is really good. If you like detective stories, if you like finding stuff out by yourself and figuring out what happened, that's done really well. But mostly, to be honest, for me, it really was about the world building. I really just want to know about these paradise worlds, the different gods, why they keep having to remake this. I can't remember if it's a planet or an island. I think it's an island. And there's little bits where you've just collected a coffee pot. There's little tiny bits which don't feel like they're adding to the story, but they are, because they're giving you a bit of insight to I don't know, it just all fits together really well. And I really enjoyed it. I also love the vibes of it. The kind of 90s
the
or
kind
80s.
Of style, the sounds, the colours.
Yes, the soundtrack, I will say, is one of the best game soundtracks. I was listening to it today, and I listen to it quite often. It's very, very good, and it really gives you a bit of I'm chilling out in this, what's it called, vaporwave world where everything's a bit neon, and I'm just enjoying these tunes.
Tunes. Is that the first time you've ever said the word tunes?
I think so. I did it live.
I mean, I thought it was an interesting setup for a game. The idea that there's been a murder and you can accuse basically anyone of doing it, right? You just have to be able to talk your way into explaining why you think they did it. And we've not really got much of it yet because we started really near the beginning. But there's you're mostly having conversations, aren't you? You're chatting to people and through conversation, in the way that like a police officer would, I guess, like trying to catch you out a little bit or trying to figure out if you already said they were or if they've got like underlying
Also, I'm
motives.
sorry to interrupt you, but this is one of the best intros to a game I've ever experienced, where you just
Jumping out
jump
the tower.
off and you just fly down while the music starts.
It's like
Best killer.
they needed like a hay bale at the bottom for it to be like Assassin's Creed style. But it's a good way to let you know there's no fall damage.
Everything about this is just stylish. I just love the combination of like 2D and 3D. Character sprites are 2D, but all the world is 3D, and it's quite funny sometimes when you're like walking over and like the sprite just stays the same no matter where you go. So they're kind of like following you around. Gives a bit of a spooky vibe. But yeah, so you have conversations, you ask questions, and you kind of, the more you talk, the more you explore, you find out stuff that you can then go back to the same people and ask them about. You can collect, gosh, this is showing me up as a fan. Are they crystals, I think? Blood crystals?
Oh, revoke per Paradise Killer fan club membership card.
Oh, no. I'm pretty sure they're blood crystals, which are kind of like a currency, which you can either spend on like upgrades and things like that, but you can also spend them on, if you go and see... oh god, my god, I'm having just a brain fart right now. One of the characters, whose name I can't remember, has a crimson in
Judge?
it. No, not the judge.
Shinji?
No.
Lydia?
Crimson something. Crimson Acid, I think? They have slightly strange names, which is why they're hard to remember. But she can sell you secrets, so you kind of have to make a choice, like, oh, am I gonna save these crystals to level myself up, or am I gonna save these crystals to find out a secret to try and like get another ending? The character design is just on point. Like every character is amazing.
It's definitely an aesthetic.
Yes.
You know, I think people at home, if they're watching this on YouTube, or whatever, later on, they'll either immediately be into it, or they'll be like, I don't know about this.
No thanks.
I'm not sure it's for me.
I kind of like that.
This guy's got like glow sticks, the judge guy.
Yeah. The judge.
Are they glow sticks, or are they like
they're
wires?
Like wires, but why not have glowy wires?
I'm gonna be honest with you, Tyler. When I was playing this, I had no idea what was going on. It's like I knew they were gods or something like that, but the finer details eluded me throughout my entire play session. And I think I went to space at one point. It was very, very confusing.
Oh yes, yeah, you do go to space.
Yeah. I've got one question for you though, Tyler.
Oh yes.
Who did it?
You'll have to finish the game and find out.
I thought I was going to catch you out.
Well, I can't. Well, what I said earlier is like, it's up to you. You have decided who did it based on the evidence that you've got. Because I'm pretty sure, like at certain points throughout the gameplay, I did change my mind quite a lot. Where I was like, oh yeah, like, it's definitely this person. And I was like, wait a minute, it can't be this person because I just found this out, so it must be someone else. It kind of keeps you on your toes, and I quite like that. I enjoyed that. And it definitely doesn't hold your hand in terms of the investigations. Like you kind of have to look at the things that you have together and think about, okay, well, these things fit together, so this is probably like the truth about this person, etc. And it's just fun to explore the world, because like you'll just go like to the beach and there'll just be like some random obelisks there. There's Shinji again. You ignored Shinji. You just walk right past him.
I don't want to chat to that guy. He's mean.
Yeah, I'm a big fan.
I've got a crime to solve.
I have a crime to solve. Sure. And there is a bit of role playing as well. You can decide to like be a bit harsher to people or be nice to people, which is a nice kind of addition. But yeah, got to get those blood crystals. So yeah, that is Paradise Killer. We'll move on shortly to show you some videos from our archive. And then I will be joined by Ben Joy to talk about our favourite Gamescom things that have happened. Any last words, Adam, on Paradise Killer? Do you think you'll finish it to the end?
No. I'm definitely going to Google the ending.
That's fine. Don't spoil it for anyone, though.
I won't. Yeah, thanks for having me on. It was a pleasure.
Thank you for being here today. I am going to do some more magic, which I'm definitely going to figure out how to do. And we shall see you shortly. Thanks, Adam.
30 seconds to go. We'll see how they play it here on first and
I see it, I see it.
Who's gonna let
Oh!
this go deep?
Oh!
Ridiculous.
Oh!
Ridiculous.
Wow! What a play! I saw it.
First half is winding.
Oh, did she?
Get him, Pete, get him!
I
Oh,
can't get to him. The bus isn't quick enough. Oh!
yes! Oh!
I did it.
Now you can. Oh,
I did it again.
that is
The love
so
bus, I
close.
think. The love bus. Oh!
Oh!
I've been wrecked.
I wrecked the one.
Oh, what the hell is this turn?
This isn't going to end well for me.
Oh my god. I'm just stuck.
The harvest has gone out the track. Enjoy, can you get out of the way? What's going
What?
on?
How am I supposed to get out of the way when
Get
that
out of the
harvest
way
is
of me
there?
and the love buses. Oh, just in the corner.
A little bit jumbled coming out on the field.
I'm not going to make the kick, but if I do.
And that's exactly what they did there. They threw it down.
Oh, no.
and
Oh,
really
no.
did a big play. You said
Oh.
they were the definition of how defensively well played into the end zone.
Oh, my God.
We are back. And magically, Ben is here. Hi, Ben.
Hello. How's it going?
Good. How's it going with you?
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad. Thank you very much. Glad to be here.
Excellent. Thank you very much for being here. We are going to have a chat a little bit about Gamescom, which is happening next week. Gamescom 2022. All very exciting. You looking forward to it?
I am looking forward to it. Yeah, I'm sure there's going to be some big announcements, some updates on things that are already announced. And yeah, I'm sure it's bound to be a good week for games, as it typically always is.
Oh, very exciting. Well, we thought it might be nice to kind of honour the Gamescom of next week by having a chat about our favourite bits from Gamescoms of the past. And why, really, you know. A lot of games get announced at these events, especially Gamescom. A lot of games get updates, launches, lots of really exciting stuff. And first, I will let Ben go and talk a little bit about a game. If I figure out how to do B-roll. A little game called Saints Row.
Yes. So this was announced at last year's Gamescom, which feels like forever ago now. And yeah, this is a personal favorite for me because we were actually involved in the announce. If people will remember, it was originally announced at Gamescom on opening night live by Jeff Keighley, but the announce kind of started to happen about 5 years before that. There was kind of the Saints Row site got taken over and just had like a graffiti. Well, it started off with just a wall, which kind of got people talking about what was coming, what was going to happen, and gradually, as the days went on, more and more graffiti was added to the wall, which kind of had some hints and clues about what was coming. And yeah, it was just really cool to be a part of that and watch the conversation and kind of watch the groundswell happening, and kind of being behind the wall, I guess, and kind of watching people get excited about it. It was cool to be kind of in that place. And obviously, it's a beloved franchise, so people are very protective of it, and people are very excited about what's coming next. I personally haven't actually played the Saints Row games before, so when I get my hands on it next week, when it comes out, because it comes out on Tuesday, will be the pretty much the first one I've ever really played in any kind of detail. So it's kind of my first introduction to it. So I'm excited from that perspective to play a game that we were somewhat involved in. But yeah, it was just nice to kind of see that when a game comes back after being gone for so long, really, and kind of just watching the excitement when people are like, oh, that thing that I love is coming back, and you get to kind of play a small part in that. It's pretty exciting. So it was fun to watch that happen, and then the full announce on Opening Night Live was really cool to experience and kind of get that buzz as if you're in it. So
Yeah.
I really liked that. And it looks cool. I mean, the CGI trailer, which I think is what's playing now, is one that was announced. It looked great. So yeah, high hopes for the game when we start playing it next week. That's 23rd is when it comes out, which is
Such
5
a
days
cool
away.
trailer, and yeah, I mean, I'm watching it, it's making me want to play it, and it's just a lot of fun, isn't it? I think the Saints Row franchise is just known for just being absolutely bonkers and just a lot of fun, and that's exactly how the trailer is. So they've definitely got that vibe across, and it just looks fun.
Just leave
I'm-
all sensibilities at the door and
Yeah.
just go nuts when you load it up. So yeah, it should be a fun one. And hopefully people are going to enjoy it when they start playing it next week.
For sure, for sure. One of mine that I quite enjoyed is, I don't know if people, this is a game that not many people have played, a Mutant, well, the full name of it. That's very embarrassing because the video is playing right now.
The one that's playing that specific one in the video, you guys know which one it is.
Mutant Road to Eden, I'm pretty sure it's called. But basically, it's Year Zero. There we go. Mutant Year Zero Road to Eden. I think I originally saw it like at a previous thing, and this was just an announcement of like the platforms and things like that. And it's a really fun little game. It's like a little strategy game, kind of like real time, where half of it is kind of real time and half of it is kind of turn based. And there's a lot about positioning, and you can do a lot of fun with positioning, which is pretty cool. And I just quite like trailers that kind of go beyond just. I mean, there is some CGI in here with a nice little pigman. But that kind of go and do something a little bit different, which I quite liked with this one, because it kind of it shows you kind of what the game is about and gets you a little bit hyped without actually showing any gameplay, which is really hard to do. But it gives you that sense of like, okay, well, there's some real people in here. We're doing some CGI with some cool stuff. There's a weird little pig at one point, and then at the end you're like, oh yeah, look, there's a really cool pigman. And that was in 2018, which is quite a while ago now. But it's a really good game. I definitely would recommend people to try it out. It also has DLC now, and it's a lot of fun, and I quite enjoyed just being excited to see a game that I was looking forward to.
Yeah, it's nice when trailers do something different, because they can at times get a bit formulaic. So when you see one that is a bit different, it's nice to see, and also it's a good move, because that's what gets people's attention. Like, oh, that's different to what I've just seen in the last 3 trailers. I'm gonna pay attention. And especially if you're a smaller game or something, it's cool to do something a bit different and capture hearts and minds, as it were.
Exactly that. Next game in our discussion is the wonderful Chorus.
Yes.
Ben, this is one of yours.
I'm a big fan of this game, yeah. So it was originally announced, I think it was originally announced at the Game Awards, was its first announced, and then at Gamescom, I want to say Gamescom 2020 is when it got its first gameplay trailer. So interesting what you were saying there. It is quite hard to capture people's full excitement when you don't have gameplay. And often the first trailers you see aren't gameplay trailers, because kind of they're not ready to show that yet, which is why you see the CGI ones first. So seeing the gameplay for this was really cool. I was very excited by kind of the announced trailer and kind of what it was going to be when we saw some gameplay and kind of I guess if people have followed the show and our blog for a while, they know I'm a massive Nintendo 64 fan. Never really moved on from that. It's still my favorite console. My favorite games are on there, and one of my favorite games was Lilac Wars, the Star Fox 64 game. And when I saw this trailer, I was like, "Oh my god, this looks like if Star Wars 64 Lilac Wars was made in 2020, 2021." So as soon as I saw like the barrel rolls and the way the ships was moving and the combat, I was like, "Oh, this just looks like it could fit in to that kind of franchise with the mechanics." Obviously, it's a very different story, but getting to play that on an updated console was really exciting to me because I still regularly play Lilac Wars on my Nintendo 64. So kind of, and it holds up. I mean, it does hold up. So getting the chance to play in kind of a similar style game with similar style mechanics, but kind of I guess like at least 20 years on, probably more than 20 years on from when that game was created. Just I was really excited for it. And as you kind of were saying with the last one, like when you see a trailer for something that you're already excited about, to get new information, get new visuals, and it heighten your excitement about it is always fun. And it actually turned out that Chorus was when we did our games of the year for 2021. The years have just all blended together in the last few years. I'm pretty sure it's 2021. Like this was my game of the year, despite the fact it came out like late 2021. I think it came out like early December, and I was like, played it. I was like, do you know what? This is the favorite game I've played this year. It was just so fun to play. And it's a good story, good mechanics, and it was fun to watch it.
Trailer looks slick. Like that is a really good trailer. Like you say, it really communicates what's fun about a game like that, which is just like flying your own spaceship and being able to like move around and zip around, do barrel rolls. The graphics look amazing, and that's the great thing about it. If you do have gameplay, trying to get it looking as polished and feeling as polished as possible before you show it to people can sometimes be really great, because that's kind of the first kind of impression you might make on a lot of people, which is very exciting. Adam says that his favourite Gamescom memory is Titanfall 2 from Gamescom 2016, so quite a while ago. What a great game that was. I've heard very good things about it. I've not played it myself, but I've definitely heard people be very, very happy about Titanfall. Let's see if anyone else comes back with some Gamescom memories. But our last game, and this is one of mine, I'm not calling Adam old because he's only like 2 years older than me. So don't worry, Adam.
He is old. We're still under 30, me and you, just about. So Wes not to the top of the hill yet. He's over it. He's over the hill.
He is over the hill. But this is like one of my favourite bits of Gamescom over the last couple of years, and it is not an announcement trailer or a launch trailer, sadly, but it is the Dragon Age 4 update that they were just talking about, the game, giving us fans a little bit of an update, showing some footage from the game, I believe, some concept art, some interviews with yes, just a video of Casey Hudson. That's my favorite kind of video. Some interviews with key people in the team, and just an idea of what they've been working on, how it's been going. And I mean, Dragon Age is my favorite IP. Of course, anything to do with it is always going to be high on my list of favorites. I think for me, this was really important because this was the first kind of update in years on anything Dragon Age related. It's one of those jokes in the community where we're like, oh, it's been like 2 years since the Gamescom thing. Are we gonna hear anything new? And it's like, nope. Every year I get disappointed. Every E3. Who knows? Maybe next week. I will pray for it. But I just really like it because it kind of shows that you don't have to have a huge announcement or a big update or a launch to capture the attention of your fan base. If you are working on something and it over quite a period of time and you want to kind of keep people updated, you can get into Gamescom with just an update video. Obviously, this is, BioWare, it's EA. Of course, they've probably got, a lot of connections, a lot of the ways to get into that kind of thing. But for me, it was just very special because, Inquisition came out, I think, in 2014. So we are slowly coming up to 10 years since the last Dragon Age game, and people are desperate. Any crumb of kind of concept art or anything is very exciting to, I think, most of the community. So this is really nice. And I think in terms of kind of as a marketing professional, it was really interesting to see because, it wasn't tied to any marketing beat. It wasn't tied to, any kind of, commercial sale or anything like that. It was just a nice update from a developer to their community. That's kind of my one there. I really hope that maybe this year's Gamescom might be my favourite, depending on what kind of news we might get. But I guess we'll see. And it just looks so good. Just everything they're showing in this video, I'm just like, wow, I just want to play it already. But there you go. Let us know in chat while we're here the next couple of minutes if you have any good memories. But that was the live show. Thank you all very much for joining us. Thanks, Adam, for being on the first of the show. And thank you, Ben, for joining me for this discussion bit. We'll be back as normal next week at 4 p.m. BST. Are we still in BST?
We'll still be in BST next week, yeah. For a while, I think.
This channel? Yeah.
Definitely on this channel.
Definitely on this channel. And if you did enjoy this show, we also do have a YouTube channel where you can watch previous shows, you can watch longer episodes of where we check out games and things like that.
And that's at www.youtube.com.
Yes, finish it.
I don't know how it finishes. /C/Etch Play? Maybe? Go to Google, type Etch Play YouTube, and that's where you
That's all you need. But yes, that has been the Etch Play live show. Thank you all. There you go. Dan has put it in the chat. Thank you, Dan. That has really helped. That has been us, and thanks for watching.
See ya.